The potato grow bag review, folks. Thanks for joining us at Small Space Produce. The good, honest potato. Now, here is four that we have grown literally just plucked out of the ground 10 minutes ago, and we need to get through this video because these need to get in the pot and get in my belly. Look, I cannot tell you, if you have not eaten a potato freshly plucked, and I mean 10 minutes ago, then you have not really eaten a potato. And I'm sorry to all the supermarkets and all the grocery stores, but once you eat your own freshly grown potatoes like these delicious pink eyes here that need a little bit more of a clean by the look of them, I promise you, you will never, ever look back. And the great news is, when it comes to potatoes, it does not matter where you live, how much space you have, every single person can grow them. And today we want to talk about how we can grow potatoes in containers, pots, and bags, and how that's actually an advantage compared to other options. So let's get right into it. Number one, and I think the very best reason that we should all be growing spuds is that you don't need a lot of space. And when I say not a lot of space, I am talking really quite a small amount of space. If you have a look at this bag here in the picture, that is about that round, and I'm going to show you some at the end of this video. We're talking sort of 10 gallons or 7 gallons. You can still grow things. Hell, you can grow potatoes in a bucket if you want to, if you set them up the right way. They really don't need heaps of room, and if you are lucky enough to have a raised garden bed or a nice big plot that you can do some planting, don't waste that on potatoes. Every bit of real estate is valuable, and they just do so well in bags and pots and containers. So they are super for small spaces, even if you live in an apartment and you only have a balcony. 6 hours of sun a day, you'll get some spuds. A little bit more, probably better, but you really don't need a lot to make these little suckers really survive. Now, the next really great reason is earlier harvests. When you've got them in a bag, and bags are really our preference, you can have earlier harvests. It's that simple. You can start them earlier. You can just extend the season a little bit more as well, and that's to do with a variety of reasons that we'll talk about a bit later in this video. But being able to move them, being able to start them inside, there's just so many good reasons, and earlier harvests, of course, is one of them, because the sooner you can get that potato in your mouth, the sooner you will be a very happy person. Now, not only earlier harvests, but we have easier harvests as well. Oh, look, I think anyone watching today who has had to dig potatoes out of the ground, the leaves have started wilting, you know it's time to get them out, and suddenly that joy of eating a fresh spud is ruined by the fact that you've got to search for these golden nuggets in the tough soil you've been growing them in. Way too much hard work for us at Small Space Produce. So even if you've got 800 acres, we're still going to suggest that you grow your potatoes in a bag like this one here. The beauty is, when your potatoes are ready, you can take that bag, you can pour it into a wheelbarrow, you can sift through and pick out your spuds. And look, you'll get varying sizes. You're going to get some big ones like this fellow here, and you'll get some very small ones, but do not discount these. They are absolutely delicious and they all add up. Now, one thing I do want to mention here, what we see a lot, particularly on the internet, is people will grow them in bags and then they pour them out on the ground and sift through and get their potatoes. But then all that beautiful soil that you've got there is wasted, and we don't like wastage. Okay, that soil can be reused again. You might need to spruce it up with a bit of food and a little bit of fertilizer just to get it going again, maybe top it up a bit, but don't waste that soil. Pour it into a wheelbarrow and you can reuse it again, and it's much easier then, less backbreaking work to collect your harvest of little potato nuggets. Now, the next great reason to grow your potatoes in bags is that you have a much lowered risk when it comes to pests and diseases. The beauty is that you're in control of that soil. It doesn't matter what's going on around it. You can have nice, clean soil. You know there's nothing nasty in there. And of course, you can move your potato to perfect environments if you need to. And there is nothing worse than putting your heart and soul into growing something and then it gets taken over by pests, or there's some sort of disease you didn't know was in the soil. So growing in our bags, but also pots and containers, even a bucket, that gives you a great chance to really control that and lower your risk when it comes to pests and also to diseases. Now, another great thing to keep in mind with growing spuds in bags is that you've got complete control of the soil. We just touched on this, but of course you can make the prime environment for your spuds to grow. Now, I think sometimes people put a lot of emphasis on this, and I know it does make a difference, but look, we've grown potatoes in bags in all sorts of different substrates with varying levels of success, but you don't need to get too fussy on this one. I think there's a couple of things you need to keep in mind, like having pretty good drainage is really important, which we'll talk about shortly. And, a bit of food, of course. It's just like a child. Anything that grows needs food. It's simple as that. So, look, I think it's important to think about your soil, but don't go absolutely bananas looking to the science of the potato and the different soils and the different things. Definitely, you need to feed them and keep them happy. And the more you've got in that bag, the more you'll need to feed. But look, at the end of the day, just being able to get a decent soil is fantastic. Being able to just buy some from your local nursery that you can throw into the pot and it's really good quality is absolutely fantastic. So certainly do your research. What can you do just to bulk them up a little bit? And that's worth doing. But the fact is, you're not just dealing with whatever soil is in your yard. Whatever you've been dealt, you've got a lot more control with that when you use bags, containers, and pots. Now, a really important thing to note with your soil, of course, and what works so well with our bags and pots and containers is drainage. No spud likes to drown. It's not going to do well for the spuds. It's going to make you very sad when you go digging in that sloppy old garden bed. And the great thing is with using our bags and pots and containers is that we can really have fantastic drainage. If you get the right soil, so it really doesn't get waterlogged. A lot of the bags and some of the ones I'll show you will either sort of seep the water out or have holes in the bottom. And look, if you're using something as simple as a bucket, you can just put holes in the bottom, and that way your potatoes are not going to be drowning in a sea of water. And being able to control that drainage is a really fantastic part of growing potatoes this way. Now, mobility and temperature control. Look, it's probably something that you don't think about a lot because you've never really had the option of growing something and then moving it. But that is an option that we have. And particularly where we live and we really want to extend those seasons, we want to get them out there as soon as we can when there's a bit of sun, but we want to be careful not to go too early. And of course, on a stinking hot day, sometimes it might be nice just to give them a little bit of shelter and just nurture them just a little bit. And the opportunity for your prize spuds to be able to pick up the bag and move them, while you don't do it a lot, it can be really, really handy. So if, like in this shot, a dragon comes to blow fire on your potatoes, you can simply pick them up and move them, and your potatoes are safe. And that is the most important thing in life. Now, the last thing I want to mention, and this really should not be underrated, we'll certainly be sharing a video on this as well, is your ability to use the hilling technique when it comes to growing potatoes using containers, pots, and bags. If you imagine when you plant that little spud and it starts to grow and the beautiful green leaves come up, each time that sends out a little set of roots, you'll get a potato on the end of those roots. Okay, so why chuck them in the ground, get one set of roots and get one potato? No, in fact, much better is to start a bit lower. Okay, just have a little bit of potato, about 2 inches of soil on top, and as those leaves start to grow and you get a little bit of growth, add more soil. And as it grows more, add more soil. And each time they'll send out new roots and you will just get your potato tower starting to form. The hilling technique can really drastically improve the amount of potatoes you get, and I believe the quality of the potatoes as well. So it's certainly something that we recommend to look into, and we will certainly share a video with you as well on the hilling technique, so you can enjoy maximum spud production. So how well does it actually go? Look, the truth is, I think we see a lot of the time in these adverts on the internet, people grow them in a bag and they pour them out and there's millions of potatoes. The truth is that is not going to happen. It's not true. I don't know if they're grabbing them from the store and filling the bags up. It's just not how it works. You can't expect millions of potatoes, but if done the right way, even just with a handful of really great seed potatoes, and make sure you don't use any old potato and ruin that soil and introduce pests and diseases, but if done the right way, you will be surprised how many meals you can get from just one bag. And the beauty is the bags aren't ridiculously expensive. You can use the bags to grow a variety of other produce as well, but our favourite thing is most certainly for potatoes. Sorry for the rude interruption, folks. Just like everyone else, we're going to plead with you to hit that little subscribe button down the bottom there. Hit that little alarm as well so you know when we've got new video content. And also in the comments below, you'll see our website and a blog link to this topic as well. We'd love you to sign up to our newsletter there too. We really appreciate all of you for watching so far. And here are some of our recommended products. Now, I want to share with you some of the bags that we're going to be using this season, certainly our favourite as well. And you can certainly have a look down in the comments below, and there are links to purchase some of these bags if you would like to trial them in your potato growing expedition. And look, of course, purchasing through us does also provide just a little bit, not a lot of income, but just a little bit to help us to produce more content as well. So let's go over a few of the options. Now, the first one I want to mention today is just the standard, good old, honest cloth bag. Okay, now look, these are fantastic. They've got handles on the side, so for that mobility that we talked about, they're nice and easy to pick up. They've also all got this flap. Most of them have got this flap. It's a nice little Velcro flap that you can open. And look, that does just give you a chance to have a bit of a look inside and see what's going on if you just really cannot wait. And look, some people like to harvest through there as well. Or if the bag's a bit heavy, you can start your harvest in there and get a bit of the soil out, fill the potatoes out. Make sure you catch that soil though and keep it, and it can just make life a bit easier. So look, these are absolutely perfect for growing potatoes. The fabric's great; it doesn't get waterlogged, and they do a fantastic job. If you are going to do some hilling with these bags, you can sort of fold the edges down a bit, but look, that just feels a bit uncomfortable for me. But we certainly use these a lot, and they've been really, really successful for us over time. One thing I will mention is they do discolour just a little bit. So we like the black cloth bags, but be aware, of course, black in sun will also get hotter, which could be an advantage or a disadvantage in a variety of situations. Now, look, the next one to mention is the good old honest plastic potato bag. Now, these are by far the cheapest ones that you'll get. So if you're really on a budget, these will do absolutely fine for you. Look, they're not as breathable as the fabric bags. It's one thing I'm always aware of, but they do have drainage holes in the bottom. So that way you know it's not going to get waterlogged. Again, you can grow a variety of things in them, but they're just so budget. So there's certainly one to consider. If you're on a low budget and you just want to start cranking a few spuds out, then those are certainly an option for you. But look, our favourite one that we want to share with you today, and one we've had really surprising amounts of success with. I was a bit nervous about these bags, to be honest. Is a cloth bag, but it's got this nice see-through part here down the bottom. It's still got the flap, so you can open that and have a good look inside if you want to. But look, I was just aware that potatoes exposed to light, they'll sort of start going green, and that green is a natural defense for the potato. It's basically producing an insecticide to try and keep itself safe from the insects it's now exposed to. But of course, that's not very good for you to eat. So look, what I love about these bags is your ability to use the hilling technique. You can put your spuds in the bottom, just do a nice thin layer of soil, and the sun can still come through this see-through part here and help those little plants to grow. And of course, as you add the soil up and it gets above that line, then the sun is going inside, so all your problems are solved. Okay, so probably just keep a little bit of an eye. If a spud is starting to look a bit exposed, just make sure you tuck a bit of soil behind it and keep them nice and safe and sound. But look, we were really, really impressed with how these went, and they'd certainly be probably our pick of the bunch, I reckon, for this season, and we'll see certainly how they go. So look, there really are a variety of options for you to choose from. So look, we don't care how you do it as long as you get growing some spuds, because everyone we get to do it, they just never look back. They are just our favourite thing in the world. I think we would all marry a potato if we had the option. So make sure you use those small spaces. Make sure you get yourself some spuds in. Have a jolly good time growing them. Keep your eye out for more of our videos showing a few techniques around things like hilling and around chitting, so you can get as many spuds as you can from just one potato. And in the meantime, look after yourself, get out there, have a crack, and have fun. Thanks for watching our video, folks, at Small Space Produce. This has been a potato grow bag review.